Hello, class. It's Calvin Silvers. Sorry for the terrible audio. My mic broke, so I'm using my computer microphone. So just bear with me in that aspect. But today I'm going to be talking about video games in the classroom. So let's begin. First off, I thought we'd talk about the history of video games real quick, just to give a general background so we're all on the same page. The first commercial household game system was the Brown Box in 1967. It was created by Ralph Baer. It was a vacuum tube circuit that would be connected to a TV and allow two users to play. It could be programmed to play ping pong, checkers, and sports games because at the time there obviously wasn't no Call of Duty or Fortnite, so these were your basic games that you could play. However, the Brown Box did not succeed due to mismanaged in-store marketing campaigns, and at the time it was an alien concept to most people. In 1973, Atari began selling Pong, and they did this in the form of arcade machines as well. And the retail price for the arcade machine that Atari sold was $1,095. Soon you started to see bars, bowling alleys, and shopping malls include these kind of machines, so this is when video games really started to pick up speed. In 1973, Empire allowed for 8 players to play against each other. Empire was a strategic turn-based game played on the Plato, the PLATO network system, or also known as the Programmed Logic for Automatic Teaching Operation, which I know is a mouthful. In 1977, the Atari Video Computer System, the VCS, was released. It used removable cartridges, which allowed more games to be played using the same hardware. So if you didn't like one game, you simply took it out of the VCS and then added something new in. It was that simple, and a lot of video game consoles started to take note of that and started using that in their consoles. In 1985, the Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES, was released. At the time, there was an oversaturated game console market with the rise of computer gaming and the surplus of low-quality games. So this led to the 1983 video game crash in North America. However, the NES really helped the industry recover from that. In 1993, Sega creates the video game rating console, which was later evolved to the Entertainment Software Rating Board, which is still in effect today. That's the board that, will put E for everyone or M for mature on the video games. 2005, the Xbox 360 was released, and then the PlayStation 3 a year later. And at the time, the PlayStation 3 allowed for Blu-ray, which was the only console to do so. In 2011, Skylanders Spyro's Adventure brought game characters to life. So you had these plastic toys that came with the game, and they had specific NFC tags that when placed onto an accessory, they would be brought to life. They would be brought into the game, which was really cool. This was the first of its kind. And in 2017, the PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One X are capable of 4K video output, which was huge for the industry. So what are some benefits from playing video games? It helps with problem solving and creativity, especially if this is started at an early age, which is the case for today's generation. Video games require players to search, negotiate, plan, implement strategies, and work together to complete levels. Children develop better decision-making skills by understanding the game's rules and mechanics. If you're looking at a creativity standpoint, children have options to modify characters' landscapes, tools, etc. within the game to fit their style. Also, it's healthy competition and leadership. Players are allowed to have a friendly competition and even allows the chance to lead squads, as in the case for Fortnite. You also have to take turns and follow. This could translate to leading a team in sports or group at work when you're older. It helps with communication skills and socializing. Many games require 2+ players to communicate to reach a desired end goal. Players can also have better established relationships and have a higher self-esteem. The game also teaches technical skills. So video games help kids get interested in technology at an early age. This helps them embrace technical skills that include coding and programming. It helps with hand-eye coordination. Players have to move their fingers across controllers and keyboards to perform a desired action. The constant movement of hands and eyes strengthen this coordination. Video games expand memory capacity. With video games, especially in the educational standpoint, players must remember the button patterns to perform certain actions. They have to remember where something is. They have to remember how to get past a certain level, and this continues on. Video games also help people who struggle with attention disorders. Research has shown that game-based learning and educational video games can actually help children who struggle to pay attention or focus, which would be huge in a classroom. This is just a graph. You can go ahead and pause if you want to read some more about these, but I just wanted to touch on a few in the top left. As you can see, gameplay involves repeated actions that strengthen the brain cell connections underlying memory and learning. Also, premotor and parietal cortex. Games that require real-time action like Space Invader activate these areas, which control sensory movement. And in the prefrontal cortex, games that require logical thinking like Tetris, for example, activate this area, which controls decision making. So as you can see, there's a lot going on in the brain when you're playing video games. So I want to talk about games designed specifically for the classroom and how they're good to be used. The first one is Classcraft. That's the one with the soldier-looking guy at the top. Classcraft is a project-based learning video game that allows teachers to customize quests based on the curriculum they're teaching. Students must collaborate in an RPG world. The game has students partake in decisions, quizzes, point systems for assigned behaviors, and boss fights before exams. Classcraft helps motivate students by giving them the freedom to act and be creative in multiple ways. Classcraft has been shown to sharpen social relationships as they engage, connect, and collaborate with each other. Teachers can create positive habits for students as they can reinforce the actions they want to see with rewards in the game, which is really good for a child that might act out in class. and students will begin looking out for one another since their behavior affects the whole team, so they don't want to let the team down. They also become more accountable as their teammates depend on them. Students are also engaged in the game as they have the freedom to choose how they progress in the game, and they can learn power they find intriguing. So they're not just stuck to one, you have to follow this route. They can kind of base off and do stuff that they enjoy. Epistory, which is the game in the far left that I am showing, is an atmospheric 3D action/adventure typing game following a writer who is lacking inspiration for her latest book. So as you can see, there's a story behind the game. So students are invested in this game because are invested in the game as they have to defeat enemies while completing quests to further the story. So they find it engaging because they constantly have to battle these monsters. Enemies are destroyed by typing the words above them, but they must be typed in a certain time. So as you can see in the picture in the far right, the person has to type out the word that's beneath these monsters to defeat them. But it has to be done at a certain time, so it helps students learn how to type faster, which is an important skill to have in today's world. Lastly, this is one that probably everyone has heard. It's Kahoot, which is the bottom picture. Kahoot is a game-based learning platform where students join a session created by the teacher and must click on the answer they believe to be right from the options. A research done by a Norwegian University of Science and Technology found that Kahoot managed to boost students' engagement, motivations, concentration, and learning after repeated use for 5 months. Over 93 studies, Kahoot has been shown to reduce students' anxiety compared to traditional teaching and other tools. Over those 93 studies, Kahoot was also shown to have a significant improvement in learning performance compared to traditional teaching and other tools, and a statistically significant improvement on students' and teachers' perception of lectures, and a statistically significant improvement in classroom dynamics. So as you can see, students, after playing Kahoot, were more likely to be engaged in a lecture, more likely to view a lecture differently, which is huge for teachers. So Classcraft and Epistory are known as e-adventure and are the most flexible educational video games as they cover the greatest number of subjects or areas of knowledge. Educational video games work better as they make students solve problems in a more creative way than sitting and reading from a textbook. We all know how boring that can be. And students can be motivated with no risk. Since there is no risk in the learning process, you're not going to get docked points by taking a quiz. If you're playing a video game, you're not going to be docked points like you might with a quiz. So there's no really risk in the learning process. So their fear of failure is greatly reduced, and they have and once they complete a level to move forward, there's a permanent mentality of I need to improve, I need to keep developing to keep going on in the game. Educational video games increase performance and knowledge. An average increase of 20% in self-confidence is seen in a student, and there's a 11% increase in conceptual knowledge, a 90% increase in retention when learning with video games, a 20% increase in practical knowledge, and up to 300% increase in completed tasks. Students are going to actually complete their homework, complete their stuff if it's through a video game. And then lastly, I want to talk about how mass market video games are being used in the classroom. So these aren't games that were specifically designed for education, but they are being used for education. So first off, we're going to talk about Assassin's Creed, more specifically Assassin's Creed Origins. Assassin's Creed is an action-adventure stealth video game franchise developed by Ubisoft. The game focuses on pivotal times in history, ranging from the Third Crusade to Imperial China and beyond. So in Assassin's Creed Origins, it's set in Ptolemaic Egypt, and the developers added a mode called Discovery Tours, and these Discovery Tours eliminate the quest and violence and instead replace them for history lessons. So in this mode, students can guide a chosen avatar, which includes Julius Caesar, and a voiceover will detail the objects, artifacts, monuments, agriculture, and the daily lives of the people as you go through the game. So if you stop and look at the pyramids, there's going to be a voiceover that explains all that stuff, which is really cool. Students can also have their characters perform tasks like baking bread, tilling a field, or inscribing scrolls, which is something that would be hard to teach in a classroom. And then when given a quiz before they do this mode and after the Discovery Tour, there is an improvement of knowledge from 22% to 44%. Also, you have Minecraft. Minecraft is a sandbox video game developed by Mojang, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys know what Minecraft is. Minecraft helps kids learn problem-solving techniques. For example, in the survival mode, players must maintain hunger and health levels while battling dangerous monsters. They also need to learn how to escape, find cover, and survive. Minecraft also supports reading and writing skills. Students need to have a good understanding of written guides to advance in the game. So you have to read the screen to know what's going on to advance in the game, or read certain functions so you can make certain items. So they have to understand what's being described to them. Students also need to communicate and use the chat function. In fact, in an inner-city Los Angeles school, a class's benchmark test score shot up from 24% to 81% in language test. Minecraft supports a curious mind. Students have to overcome challenges or want to learn how specific things work. They'll then do online research through YouTube or Wikipedia, or even visit the library for Minecraft tutorial books. So if a student wants to learn why does this happen in the game, they can look it up on YouTube, Wikipedia, or like I said, they might even go to the library and get a Minecraft tutorial book, because there are a lot of those out there. Minecraft helps in math. In fact, in inner city Los Angeles school, a class's benchmark test score shot up from 18% to 84% after using Minecraft to teach math. And Minecraft also allows students to create anything that they can think of. Teachers use Minecraft to have students build famous and historical landmarks. And lastly, you have Portal and Portal 2. They're puzzle platform games developed by Valve. These games teach students about physics. Students explore gravity and friction, terminal velocity, and conservation of mass. And with the puzzle maker mode, students learn about volume, statistics, stuff like that. So for a lesson, teachers can have students partake in other students' puzzles and collect and chart data on a research question. Students also must track and analyze the narrative arc and story in the game. This covers language arts. Students can track how choices affect the story or create a plot map for the first few levels. And lastly, students are continually thinking critically about solving problems while playing the game. Students can also work together to play and design levels. So as you can see, video games, whether they're created for educational purposes or just created to have fun, as in Assassin's Creed or Portal and Portal 2, these video games help in the classroom. There's a lot of benefits for children and even for college students. So hopefully this research and this PowerPoint and this presentation open your mind to why video games would be a good thing to include in the classroom. Have a good day, everyone.